Up next on The Big Room.
I will say they did mention that it was kind of like a Western, which I was like, okay, you kind of got me with the Western motif.
Without any
angle.
of the charm at all.
Right, but it's like sand on the beach is kind of like sand in the desert.
No.
Exactly the same.
A watering hole in the deserts of Oklahoma serves a totally different purpose than a watering hole on the beaches of Glass Key. You just know that across the street from a red house, there's mini golf. It's different.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the big room. It's a good day. Danielle's back.
I'm back.
I'm back in my proper chair. I'm wearing my proper headphones. And we watched Roadhouse again.
Yeah, we sure did.
Our first episode ever was Roadhouse, but the 1989 Roadhouse. Or as I will start referring to it, the good Roadhouse. The good
I was
Roadhouse.
trying to remember throughout, because it was so long ago now. We've watched so many movies.
It's been a year and a half.
I was
just
like,
about.
what all happened in the first one besides punching?
Literally been like 62 movies.
I did rewatch it.
So that was
The
episode,
original?
Yeah.
Nice.
Original
Kind of
Roadhouse
like a passing.
was episode 0 because we didn't have proper microphones and it sounds like butt.
It is on YouTube though.
Don't listen to it, but you can if you want.
To it.
It's my best episode.
No.
Came out the gate swinging.
No.
You have a really good bit in it, or a really good joke.
Yeah.
So this is a remake. It shares 4 things, as far as I can tell, with the original movie, and I will list them now. The main character's name is Dalton. That's the same. There's a cage around the band. That's the same. The love interest is a doctor lady. That's the same. And there is a bar. That's it.
Yeah.
There is a Roadhouse.
That's it.
So let's talk about that. This is definitely a remake, not a part 2,
Yeah, oh yeah.
not a
which is
remake.
what I was expecting.
Oh,
You were
thought-
expecting for it to be like
I thought it was a
Son.
son. I thought it was a son.
Continuation. Oh.
Because there was, right? Am I making that up? There was a Roadhouse 2, right?
I don't know.
I feel like it.
I
feel
think
like
there
that
was, and it
exists.
was, yeah. And it
Or
was
there was
son
a script
something,
for it
but-
or something. I remember reading about it. It was talking about his son. So I thought this was going to be his son until
The whole movie.
probably
'cause it's-
halfway
yeah.
through. I was like, oh, they're either not going to talk about it or this is, I guess, like a reimagining instead of a
Yep.
sequel.
I would say reimagining almost more than remake.
Because
Yeah.
say that so loosely.
Remake, I would anticipate more shared points.
Yeah.
And actually, this movie doesn't make a lot of sense. So like in the first movie, in 1989's actual Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, who is hot as hell in that movie.
Yeah.
debatable.
He's
And there's no counterpoint in this movie. They don't have a buddy
No, they
in this
don't.
movie, which kind of sucks.
They have an
You kind of
annoying
need
girl
that
at
to
a
ground
bookstore.
Dalton a little bit.
Yeah. So in the first movie, Dalton is brought into this bar that's like off an interstate in the middle of nowhere, and it's the Roadhouse. The bar's not called that. It's just that's what the bar is, I guess. I don't know. And he's brought in because there's so much like fighting and stuff in the bar. Furniture gets broken. Everybody's getting thrown out. They cannot A, keep a bouncer employed, and B, they don't have a bouncer like capable of calming everything down.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's I need a bouncer. That's it.
Well, she needs a bouncer who can stay because she supposedly
She's
can't keep
also
one.
lost a bunch of them, but like is a shocking difference to come to terms with. Not that this is a serious movie that deserves analysis, but I'm going to give it anyway. What is shocking is the juxtaposition of the two bars. Because in 1989's
Yeah.
Roadhouse, the bar is, pardon my French, a shithole bar. Like,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Right.
It's like, what if O'Malley's was bigger and everyone
the
in
same.
it did punching and stuff? This bar is the best bar ever. Like, I want to be in
looks
this bar.
Luxury. Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks like a fancy, didn't need any
beachfront.
cleaning up, really.
This
Yeah.
movie takes place in a mythical Florida key that doesn't exist called Glass Key. The bar is like a cool, like open air, like tiki hut with a back porch that bumps right up to the ocean. It's a paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the bands are groovy. Like they basically have Dollar Store Ray Charles and Dollar Store Stevie Ray Vaughan are like playing music. It's the best. And inexplicably, like that environment, it makes no sense for there to be fighting there. Really? Right?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Who could fight in paradise?
When what bothered me about the bar was,
I mean, drunk people can fight anywhere.
That's true.
But the environment, like it made it way
No.
less believable.
That's not where motorcycle gangs are going to like hang out and beat people up.
right.
They're not going to the beach bar.
let me go to that tiki hut.
Let me go to
Yeah.
that tiki hut where they could host a wedding.
With the nicest
throw down.
bartender ever.
Yeah, no way.
It's insane. So
I don't
that's,
know. She was a little weird about the coffee.
I liked it.
The way
you
she
have black
delivered
coffee?
it,
No.
no, it's Cuban.
But
coffee.
I didn't.
What are
have
you
that.
drinking? Cuban.
We're Floridians. You are not. Three of us. Three of us are Floridians. You're a transplant. You've been here 11 years?
11.
11 years this year.
That's enough years.
So that's the other thing that we had a hard time with. And I'm wondering if you had a hard time with this as well. Now, I've never been to the Keys. She's been to the Keys, but whatever. I had a hard time. Like, yeah, the Cuban coffee thing. The Cuban coffee's everywhere here.
Yeah.
So it's not like I guess I got the impression that maybe he was in
But who
Indiana
has
or
coffee,
something.
Cuban coffee, and not coffee?
he was-
like that's kind of crazy.
He was
That's true.
Montana.
That's true. He was in Montana. So he goes across the
Missoula.
country. So we're trying to get like, a culture shock.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have black coffee here. We have Cuban coffee, which
Is that like
It's dumb.
Is that like
Dumb.
when you go out west and try to order sweet tea and they're just like, what?
yeah, or like when
It's like
you go
when
to
you try to
is
order
that?
a pickle, and they're like, "We have sweet pickles."
and you're like, that's okay. I'll make my own. No, it's like I guess the
I
other
don't deserve this.
the other
Yes, you
thing would be
do.
like if you're
you
in
do.
Georgia. Now this doesn't happen everywhere in Georgia because it's we're every place is more connected now in the internet age. But like back when my dad was a kid,
Back in my dad's day.
in Georgia where he grew up, you would ask for a Coke and they would ask what kind because Coke meant soda.
Ugh, that's annoying.
Coke was made in Atlanta.
Oh.
So, but
yeah.
that's like Coke. There's like pop
That makes
people.
sense, though.
There's soda people, and then in Georgia, it's everything's Coke. I'll have a
Hmm.
Coke. What kind? Sprite. Like that's a normal.
That's
That's a
wrong.
normal thing.
What
So,
about
I don't know what my
I'll
point
have a
was.
Coke. What kind? Pepsi.
Lit.
That's insane.
Blue
That's
Coke.
blasphemy.
Please.
Yeah.
Blue Coke.
Blue Coke. I used to drink Pepsi at when we were all at Auto Customs as a bit because Brian hated it, and to like twist
suffered
the
through
knife. I learned to like it a lot. To twist the knife, I would call it Blue Coke. I'm gonna go get a Blue Coke.
I love it.
And then there was that
Blue
pink.
collar
You
Coke.
remember the pink vitamin water?
Yeah.
There's pink juice. So I had Blue Coke and pink juice.
Pink juice.
Brown juice for coffee.
Brown juice, yeah, and 3 o'clock applesauce. Shout out to David who was on last week. So that was weird. And then the Keys, there's a point where this jumps ahead to like the second act, but there's a point where what's the dirty cop's name? Big ass big.
Big dick.
Big dick. This is the same. He's
big,
like,
yeah.
you got to be careful around here. The family ties run deep, and like everyone's angry, and I'm like, it's the Keys.
It's the Keys.
No one's mad. Everyone's drunk, gay, and boning. Like that's the Keys, man.
Like, no, this is not like, no.
It's it's borderline Caribbean, but everybody's chilled out in the Keys.
I haven't been that far south.
Me either, to be fair, but you could corroborate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I went as on vacation, so maybe
Yeah, you're
I'm a
hanging
skewed
out and,
perspective. But there's only so many people. It's a little tiny strip. How like you're at the
I
beach.
don't know.
I
Any
just
of these
don't
really
see
touristy
it.
places usually have a really seedy underbelly, but I don't know. Just seeing how pretty it looked, it felt weird to be like, yeah, it's also really gritty.
I just of
Like,
all the places you could have set this movie,
The Keys is
Why
a weird
there?
one.
why there? There's
I
way
think
like
they just wanted to hang out in the Keys. I think this whole movie
That-
was just Jake Gyllenhaal and his friends.
right.
Like, what if we just went golfing and went on a boat and just made it a tax write-off? And they're like, yeah, okay.
Who else can we have? Conor McGregor. We'll ask him. Were you
Okay.
Kind of pissed me off because Swayze's Dalton was supposed to be like a really stoic and kind of almost Zen level bar or a door, like a, what are they called? The
like a bouncer? Yeah.
Then this guy
There's a
has
better
no bouncer. He doesn't know how to be a bouncer, so why is he the first choice? It just seemed like a strange change.
Well,
we're-
to be fair, she went for Post Malone.
No, it was somebody else, wasn't it?
No,
No, it was
wasn't-
she
Post
was
him?
going for
It
Posty
was?
and then saw him and was like,
But-
you'll do better.
Well,
Post
'cause-
Malone doesn't have any
even then,
experience either.
The thing was, is
You don't know
well,
that.
no,
He
Post
just
Malone,
fight.
he was running the ring. That was the impression I got. Is Posty at the beginning was kicking everybody's ass in the fake Sherlock Holmes underground Fight Club octagon. And then when Dalton showed up, Post got pissed and everybody boned out because it's like, well, Dalton's here. This guy's an actual cage fighter who we later learned killed a guy. So that's why she ended up going, we'll get that guy that everybody's afraid of instead of the dude. You want the guy that everyone fears, not necessarily the dude that's beating the piss.
But part of the charm of like the original Roadhouse was like this kind of subculture of bouncers, and like there's this like lore around it, and it's like without that it's kind of like, okay, we're just picking some random guy because he's tough. Like it just seems like you could pick anybody at that point.
And we had a very cheap imitation of that in this movie, in the scene where, because this bar does have like 2 bouncers other than Dalton, and we have the one scene where there's fighting in front of the band in the cage, and Dalton, like one of the guys goes to make a move and Dalton like pulls him back and goes, he's got a knife under his shirt. The guy in the blue shirt's got a hidden knife in his pants or whatever. He's like, when he slashes at you, just step back and pop him in the face. And that to me felt like this movie's
classic
like
MMA move.
Right. When John Bones pulls a knife out. That felt like this movie's cheap version of when Dalton in 1989's Roadhouse, Swayze's Dalton, is like training the bartender staff and going through the rules, and how the most important rule is be nice until it's time not to be nice. And in this movie, none of that at all.
They did that in 2 seconds in this movie.
So
he did nothing for this bar other than sort of hire a new guy.
He didn't even really do that much. He let the younger kid deal with it.
Which is what's interesting, because this movie is not a bouncer movie. Roadhouse is a bouncer movie. That becomes not a bouncer movie. And to be fair, 1989's Roadhouse, I wouldn't call that a good movie either. It's a blast.
It is,
but it's a lot of weird and in some ways disjointed 1980s tropes. Like we have a full like minute plus long scene of Patrick Swayze doing like Tai Chi on the banks of a lake.
We got a little bit of that on the roof of his car.
Crunches on the boat.
There was that, and he was doing the crunches and pull-ups on the boat and stuff. But like, I don't know, something that Carl brought up pre-show in passing was, well, he didn't say this directly, but I will. This movie wasn't quotable. And Roadhouse was quotable. What was the one, the nipple to nipple thing? You want to dance nipple to nipple? That's a crazy line.
There's so many lines in the first movie, like I ain't gonna show you my dick. I can't really think of a quote from this new movie.
I have one quote.
Like, oh yeah, that was.
I have one quote from this movie, and it's after the yacht blows up, and Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor end up on the dinghy.
Oh,
and Conor McGregor goes, "We're on our own little octagon," and Jake Gyllenhaal goes, "Who taught you shapes?" That's a good.
There was a lot of little fun lines like that sprinkled in, but it seemed like I don't know. The charm of the first one is just so much heavier. Yeah,
there's humor.
This piano's out of tune.
Dumb.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Dumb. And I didn't even remember that line. Like I remember that scene, but that's the thing with Roadhouse 1. Is there's a lot of memorable lines, and in Roadhouse 2 there's a lot of humor, but none of it like
Not
stuck
memorable.
to my brain.
They did copy the one line when he's at the hospital. She's like, "So do you ever win a fight?" No one ever wins in a fight.
Yeah,
I was waiting for that.
To say
it felt out of place.
You literally win or lose a fight every time. You're an MMA fighter.
No, but Patrick Swayze said that, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
but he was a bouncer. It makes
then.
sense.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like
just punches they chose to pull were weird, and the ones they did
it feel like to you guys like they were trying to get all the homages out in the first act?
A little bit.
Like and I mainly mean that because we had the nurse scene instantly.
Because once Conor McGregor comes, that's when it really
which is like
starts to stray.
late.
That's when
It's like about halfway through.
That's when it shifts gears into like, I say this meaning full insult, like a Transformers movie. You know what I mean? Like it turns into dumb set pieces. Like we got the whole Mission Impossible like drone footage of the boat. Like we're trailing a boat, and it's all like very. We used 80% of our budget on this shot. Like
they should have used it on some of the fighting effects because
let's talk about
crap.
that. Do you know why?
No.
So the fighting is a lot of CGI, I will say in quotes. And I've tried to look this up because the movie's so new, there's not a load of information. So this may age like milk. But from the research I've done, the reason the fights look weird and almost like motion smoothed
Yeah.
is because so they're not doing what like most movies would do, which is like have me punch like past Danielle and then have her react, like using depth perception tricks.
Yeah.
They are like when Gyllenhaal would punch Conor McGregor, Gyllenhaal would punch like a punching bag, full force, and then they would add McGregor's reaction,
And then he would
and they
fake a reaction?
They would stitch it. So what's cool about it is all of the punches thrown are full force, like
but
real punches, but it looks like
The
shit.
receiving end is not real.
It looks
and
bad.
That's
It was
maybe more important.
It was just so much motion. Like it was panning around, and at some point, it didn't even look like there were shadows, and it, like the background kind of zoomed in like a video game cutscene. I was just like, "What is this?" And I couldn't quite pinpoint. I was like, "Is the ambient occlusion off, or like what's going on?" But it was weird.
Was it filmed in a higher frame rate, like something like that?
Yeah, something. Yeah, it just felt really strange.
when he gets run over by the truck on the bridge.
That looked terrible.
That was awful. Like, why can't you just film a truck going backwards? Like, it was, I don't know what was
Yeah.
going on there, but it was like,
Yeah,
it
that
went
car
from
was
like
going way too
5 miles
fast.
an hour to 30 and then back to 5 real quick.
It like accelerated like an RC car.
Yeah, it was,
Like
it was
accelerated like
maybe
Nick's
it was
new
all
car.
miniatures.
Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
actual RC car.
Man.
That
You
makes
guys
the
remember,
most
since
sense.
we were talking about the fight, there was a brief moment where he goes, "Be nice."
Oh, I
He
didn't
says,
catch
He
that.
goes, "Be nice," and I was like, "That's where you chose to insert that line." Like, and then no follow up with like until it's time to not be nice. I was waiting for him to like hit him after that and like follow up with the finish in the line, but I was just like, what a weird choice. Like so crazy. I don't know.
My notes.
I
have more things to say about it.
to the
Yeah, we've kind of gone
just-
out of order here.
Well, out of order is fine. I don't want to march through the plot because this
Do we
movie.
want to talk about that
That's
train
fine.
scene at all? Because that was
Yes.
crazy
Yes,
to me
let's
too.
talk
I-
about that. Very beginning of the movie. So there's a whole underground fight scene where Post Malone's there just because they wanted to burn $2 million by having Post Malone on set for 10 minutes.
He must have a new album coming out or something.
Right. And then Dalton
Country
shows
album.
up, which that's what's
Oh,
weird
boy.
to me too, after like because Dalton leaves MMA because we learned he has anger issues and killed a guy. Like which is nonsensical
friend or
too.
something?
It seemed like his friend that pushed him too far is kind of the way that the movie's kind of dragging us along. But like MMA refs jump on the guy that's down. He wouldn't just pull him back and give him a chance to whatever. Why is he at a fight at all?
What do you mean?
Why does he get in the ring at the underground fight at all?
Just to
Because-
make money.
But he's anti-fight.
Well,
yeah,
he
but
knows
he
everyone's
knows
gonna.
that they know him,
Okay,
and all he has to do is sit
That's the
down.
guy that
and
killed
then they'll
that
quit.
guy.
I'll accept that. It's stupid.
It is weird
I'll
though that
accept
he
it.
wants to like capitalize off of that mistake if he's so beaten
mean,
up.
you gotta
I
make
think
money.
That's where I'm at. Like, why
That's
would you
true.
not
Yeah.
totally? I don't know. But that's what I would do.
This
is
movie
totally
makes a lot
reject
of
it.
weird choices that I'm like, this doesn't feel like it needed to be a Roadhouse remake because they changed so many things that make Roadhouse Roadhouse.
Well, we wouldn't
true.
watch it if
Like-
it wasn't called Roadhouse.
yeah,
I mean-
but I don't know.
Well, if they
I
framed
it as
just
like an
used to
action
Nicky
movie
that
with
was
Jake-
new, and I thought that was good.
If you tell me Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal are in a movie together,
I'm the opposite.
I'm watching that.
I'm not watching it. I'm
Really?
the opposite. Yeah, I only watched this because it was called Roadhouse. Now, Carl's point, he leaves this. He shows up to this underground fight. Everybody bones out because they're like, "Oh, Dalton's here. He'll kill us." Whatever. And then
do
a
it
dude is
again.
like, "This is bullshit," and stabs Dalton. And Dalton's just kind of like, "What
Or
about it?"
$500. Is that all the money they were making that night?
I guess so. I don't know.
That doesn't seem like that much.
It seemed like a kind of situation where like it's a $25 like payment to get in, and then winner takes the pot.
Well, I think
kinda
just
deal.
that one guy was $500.
or maybe that's the case.
oh,
I feel like the
maybe.
pot was
Okay.
bigger, but that one specific guy had put in $500.
Gotcha.
That's what I took it
makes
as.
sense.
So he gets stabbed. Who cares?
Classic.
He's driving his truck somewhere. Was
Well,
it
to a train track.
Was it to the fight at the beginning? He was driving the truck.
No, because he went and he was like sleeping in his car, and the police is like, "This isn't the Holiday
That's
Inn," or
right.
whatever.
And he goes. It's where he's like. It's after he's offered the job because he gets offered the job by the bar owner, who's in.
She decided to fly all the way to
Yeah. Where was it?
whatever Montana.
Montana, right?
Which is
Something with an M.
Well, he said he was from Montana. I don't know if that's where.
so
the
who
movie
knows where it
started.
is? Who
She drives
and
far
does
enough
it
away.
matter?
let's be fair. Who cares?
It's really important.
He does this weird thing where he is driving to a railroad crossing, stops on the tracks, and turns the truck off.
Holds
And we're
the
like,
key up.
"Oh, we're gonna watch a suicide. Cool." And then he goes like, "Eh." It's in the way that you use it. And then like tries to start the truck again, and it's like won't start. And he gets to where only the bed gets hit by the train.
God.
And then
around.
after, which by the way is your nightmare.
I hate trains. I don't know why. I don't like if Cameron inches close to them, like
Which, to be fair,
at a
I
red
do.
light. He does it to scare me.
Every time.
I'm like, I
love being the first car.
I hate it. So as soon as he was even near the train tracks, I was like, no, like this is the worst.
So
I hate this.
Then the train hits him.
Who stops on train?
And
Like,
what he gets
Suicidal
from
people.
well, why is he? He seemed fine. He just made a lot of money. Like what?
that. So what my
It
thought
seems like
went,
a weird choice.
my thought
like
went
a weird
'cause
choice.
your family works on the railroad all the live long day.
Yep.
Is like that train
the only way
driver
to do
still that train driver
just-
thinks he killed a guy.
Oh, true.
Oh,
The conductor's
Oh.
like, not again. It's the
Well, he
third
didn't
time this
stop
week.
I'm going to
caught
get
him, so-
fired.
He's got the whiteboard in his train cabin, train
Has
helm.
0
It's
days
like
since
0 days
accident.
since last incident. He erases it.
But he still goes. He's not stopping.
Well, and then like the adrenaline rush of getting hit by the train, he just smiles and is like, guess I'll go to Florida, which is insane.
Maybe he was coming to Florida to try to get run over by the Bright Line. Which is what some people are trying to do. But they're getting really mad because
so many people.
because that train doesn't go fast enough to not be able to stop. So they'll just stop in front of people and they're just like,
What?
dang it.
Are you
Yeah.
serious? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's hilarious.
Wait, what
But
is this? What's going on?
So the Bright Line train is a new system we have in Florida that currently
My
connects.
dad built some of it.
Yeah, his dad built
nice.
some of it. It currently majorly connects Orlando to Miami.
I think
Yeah.
it goes Orlando to Jacksonville now too.
And also
Or
Fort
St.
Lauderdale.
or
They're
St.
building,
Augustine,
they're building a
something
Fort
like
Lauderdale stop too. So
Okay.
But it's a slow train.
it's not
It's
like
not slow.
high speed rail, but because it's, I imagine, I don't, just from my sort of okay knowledge of physics, that I guess more of the reason it could stop quicker is it's not carrying containers that weigh
Yeah, and
tons and tons. It's carrying passengers.
I would imagine that is.
But it's not exactly high speed rail. I would love to
a
go on it.
regular
We have to
train.
go to Miami to see the Marlins play at some point. I'd love to take the Bright Line just because
That'd be cool.
It's one of my weird nerd autism dreams to take a train somewhere.
I've been on trains throughout Europe.
The problem is, Carl, people keep killing themselves on the Bright Line.
They do.
Oh, I thought they
do
were
do
just
that.
trying.
Like
Yeah,
there's
No.
3.
Oh, it's like all the time. Well, I guess I get notifications every time they hit someone.
It's a dime a dozen.
Not
Why do you
necessarily.
get notifications for
So
that.
okay.
Is there a Twitter account?
You're supposed to
No.
know about it.
Have there been suicides today?
She's in, like-
No.
Let me
Yes.
All her model trains have little people in half on the tracks.
Let me tell you. Can I explain why?
Yeah. Please, you better.
But she's fascinated with like Danielle, like the Venn
Loves trains, but for the wrong reason.
The Venn diagram of train fan and true
way to
crime
kill someone.
barely intersects, and it's
It's
just
right
her.
there.
Yeah.
So let me explain. So I have a friend. I won't say her name.
But if you did, it'd go a little something.
No, she like wouldn't drive for a really long time. She's very anti-car and like just she loves Japan and other cultures and just not America.
Don't make it hard to guess who it is.
She doesn't listen to this. She doesn't listen to this. Anyways, but I like to troll her every time the train hits somebody because I'm like, is this the America
Oh my
that you
God.
want? This is what you want? Is this the future that you envision for your country? Just people getting hit by trains?
Oh my
So every
God.
time the train hits someone, I send it to her.
This is your fault. So you have notifications on for this?
Hey,
No, it's just an Instagram
hey,
account.
you know,
Okay.
I have a train fact
You do? What's your-
about
Train
Japanese
fact.
bullet trains.
yeah.
They have
They're really fast.
duck bill noses.
So they just
The trains, yeah, they just fling little
Just quack
Japanese
people right off,
businessmen. No, so they have duck bill noses. So like it's the train, and then it'll have this little like platypus nose. And none of the high speed rails in Europe, like I believe the French have the fastest high speed train. Like Japan's not even the quickest. But
Really?
the reason they have this nose is a lot of the trains in Japan go through tunnels. And a lot of the tunnels are near populated places. And the train is so fast that before they added that nose, when it would hit the tunnel, it would make an almost sonic boom loud noise.
Oh.
So
Wow.
they added that nose to scoop the air,
Aerodynamics.
so that the
Science.
concussion from going from open air to a tunnel isn't as concussive for the people that live there. Here's a train fact I learned yesterday.
Train fact.
Wow.
This
Isn't that
is
fun?
the best chance my dad has ever had at listening to this show. So much train talk.
I have
He's probably sitting in his truck on his iPhone just smiling right now.
For such a small plot point.
the dog just got the ball stuck behind the cigar
Oh,
box.
she's gonna be so sad.
She's looking right at you. You got to go help her.
I have this one.
That's true. All right, Elfie's screwed.
I have this one.
If Phoebe gets down,
I'll get it.
Train suicide.
Thanks.
Oh, so the first thing he does is goes to this bookstore and has the most unrealistic conversation of all time with these people that we're supposed to care about.
You've never met a local bookstore owner.
She's.
I care about those people, but the dialogue was bad.
It was just bad. It's poorly written.
Their involvement in this movie was so forced just so we could have that scene at the end.
Yeah.
However, so
I was here
after
for it.
after he, because there's money that's hidden, whatever. We're not going to talk about every plot point because, actually, excuse me, don't watch this movie. He hides the money in there, whatever. I knew that what the last shot of the movie was going to be, and I said it out loud to her.
He did.
Oh, you just guessed.
10 minutes before, because we go back to this bookstore that gets burned down by the biker gang, just so that we have an ending. Dalton goes back there, talks to the girl for a bit while her dad, we assume, finds the money that Dalton stole from the Big Bad Boys and hid it in the burned down
From Big
bookstore. While this scene's happening, we have maybe 5 minutes before the ending. Did I pause the movie? I don't think I did.
Yeah, you might have.
I might have paused the movie, and I told Danielle, I said, this is going to be the last shot of the movie. Because Dalton's leaving by bus. We're going to have a big pan out, and the last thing we're going to see in this movie is the tree that grows on the disused road in the intercoastal. Guess what?
That's what happened.
It's the last shot.
Nailed it.
And I went, it's predictable. It's a formula.
Oh no!
You were Batman
what
last
you
week.
said was call me to write the end of the movies or to consult something like that.
mean-
Let me consult on the end of your movies.
It felt like too big a departure because the first movie he settles in that town with the lady, and this one he
Yep.
just leaves.
Yep.
It didn't seem. That's why I'm just like, this doesn't do enough of the Roadhouse classic tropes to be a Roadhouse movie.
He
This
doesn't
doesn't
even just leave. They tell him to leave. They're like, all right,
that's
get
true.
out.
Because
You
unlike
do
in the
get
last
kind of
Roadhouse,
that shotgun, what was it, the Dead Poet Society thing where he's like, you weren't here, get out of here. You kind of get that, but not really in the same effect. Like
And
the
that
first one's just so
character-
ridiculous.
Officer Ass, or whatever his name is,
Big
big
dick.
ass.
he's a terrible
Big
character.
dick.
Because he's like a weird half villain that then gets out
then
villained
turns-
by the villain and then has a face turn right at the end.
Well, he saved his daughter.
Stupid. Dumb.
I mean,
Let her die.
My biggest beef with this movie is actually the villains, because as a main primary villain, we have dollar
he's
store.
trash.
We have dollar store Joe Burrow, who none of you know because you don't watch football.
I
But
know who that is.
that guy
at
looks like
least.
the Bengals quarterback, Joe Burrow. I found him not scary,
No.
not imposing.
No.
The main villain guy.
No, I said
Yeah,
no.
they had
I
a
thought
weird,
you
they
said
had a
the
weird
first
face
one.
reveal for him with zero payoff.
Yeah, and he's like supposed
shaving?
to be benevolent. And yeah,
sheriff.
the shaving thing was weird.
Oh,
But
you're
yeah,
talking
I'm talking about the
okay.
main guy.
Whatever,
Dude,
it's like,
that-
why they teased that he was going to get like his throat cut or something, and I was like, why set us up like this? Is it just that he's being thrown into this terminal, like the seas are moving, and he's just like thrown into this kind of like thing?
You know
He's got to.
you know what it felt like to me?
It just
was
felt weird.
The villain introduction of like a early to mid 2000s Adam Sandler comedy where we have to have a villain, but we have to make him funny, so we'll have a shaving scene.
Yeah.
But I feel like they meant it to be like, oh, he's got like he's bullying this kid who's trying to shave him. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a
Like
stupid
he's
choice.
reckless, like he doesn't care if he
Yeah.
gets cut. Like it's just like, why would you risk it? Like why get shaved right here? Like it just
That
it's a
whole
weird
scene on the
choice.
boat where he's getting his
Like-
face shaved felt like a clip straight out of Grand Theft Auto. The dialogue,
Like
just
GTA
his
5.
moving around,
Yep.
just a weird
Right?
cutscene in a mission
Yeah.
you're doing.
Just
That
like
this
it.
this movie in general felt like
Overacted.
GTA.
Yeah.
Freaking Conor McGregor walking around like an NPC,
He always walks like that.
dude.
Dude,
This-
what a weird walk he's got.
It's pretty weird.
Like,
It's the billionaire walk. It's Vince McMahon
Yeah.
did it in the WWE.
is that where does he keep all his money between his legs and he just has to keep a wide stance? Like why?
I think that's what it is. I don't know. I know it from Vince McMahon. I'll have to show you.
I think it's just muscle, dude. Like
yeah,
He's just too big.
What he
muscly.
always wears.
Sorry, I don't fit through this door.
He gets. I follow this menswear account on Twitter. So I used to follow it because I don't use Twitter anymore. And it's this dude that just like he's a men's like high fashion kind of knower. Like he writes articles for newspapers about this stuff. And he is very critical of Conor McGregor's suits because Conor McGregor is undeniably very muscular. Dude's body, unreal. He's just a machine.
We see all of it.
Built to murder. Yeah, we see everything but his gentleman's area. But he always wears suits that are stitched so tight that if you look at red carpet pictures of Conor McGregor, you can see the seams splitting.
Oh.
And
This man a suit that fits. Like,
that's
what?
exactly. And that's the critique is like slim suits, cool, but not when they're bursting at the seams because your biceps, like whenever
they
you
look like
lift a
they're
drink to
made
your
of
glass,
spandex.
you're destroying the damn thing. The other thing he hates is like the thing with the NBA is like suit pants that are cut to show the ankle while you're standing. We're not going to talk about how I roll my jeans to do the same
Quote
thing.
Jim Jeffries, you look like cunts.
A lot of the guys on The Bachelor rock that look and without socks, and it's just
Yeah, exactly.
no.
Exactly.
No,
Now-
wear socks.
No socks and leather shoes is a dangerous choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bad choice.
Plus, if you're like, I have leather loafers as my dress shoe of choice right now.
Oh.
You can just show off the sock. Show off your cool sock.
Yeah.
Sure.
What the hell? So yes, Conor McGregor. Let's talk about him for a minute. So first off, I knew that this movie was going to happen. I'm not a UFC fan, but because Gyllenhaal was at an actual UFC event filming the UFC parts, so all of the flashbacks to him at the fight was for a actual real UFC event where they actually had him
it's
come
like,
out.
Pause.
And exactly,
gonna do this now.
Literally, and then they did a couple of the fight scenes, and then they went back to the normal fighting, like before the main event. So that whole thing.
Actually, I
real.
thought the octagon fight scenes were pretty compelling and pretty believable. It was just that
like
last
the-
fight scene that was ridiculous.
the
looking.
underground one with Post. You're saying?
I mean, I think that fight scene was good. I think the actual scenes in the octagon with like Jake fighting whoever that was.
Yeah,
Jake
yeah.
fighting whoever
Okay.
it was. Those looked
were
real,
rough.
I think. But then it was just that last final scene that was just like they
And
really
those-
went bananas.
Those may have had real contact because you're not going to have time to do the double thing at a real UFC event.
Oh, true. I thought the close up of his face in the octagon was really rough.
I didn't notice.
like
yeah.
silly.
Yeah, it just didn't feel.
He's making a funny face.
I don't know.
Well, because
It
he
didn't
was just
feel
getting like,
cohesive.
he was just like and getting angry, and then like it's just like what? Like I don't know. It seemed like such a weird swing from like that persona to his new persona, and it was just like I guess a killing guy would do that to you, but it just didn't seem right.
Right.
My question is: does Conor McGregor, like the name Conor McGregor, does he not exist in this universe?
So okay, you're getting ahead of me.
Oh yeah,
You're getting ahead of me.
okay.
Here's what I want to say. This is what I wrote down. I wish Conor McGregor played Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
I think that it would have been funnier if he was just himself. I think it would have been a little more believable if it was just himself. Now, by playing Conor
would be.
McGregor, I don't want him to play like UFC fighter Conor McGregor because then you can't have him be this fantastical character. But remove him from that and just have him be himself. And the other
yeah,
thing
because
that-
there were multiple times where I was like, "Oh look, Conor McGregor's acting. This is cool."
Yeah, and I don't think he did a bad job of acting because they largely were like, just be an anus.
you.
No, you don't understand. Like, he's like that. He's a maniac.
Still doesn't make it good for a movie.
He's a crazed
He was
maniac.
a fun villain, though.
He's
of
a
anything,
fun
I feel
villain
like
in the
he
UFC.
Was the most like '80s kind of vibe. Like he was just ridiculous, over the top, like that. I kind of liked his performance, but
This
it
is
just
a
seemed like it came
guy-
in too late.
This is a guy who got in trouble before one of his major fights because he threw a whole chair through the bus window of his opponent.
Khabib.
Like, he's a maniac.
Khabib.
Now,
Yeah.
one of the other things, and this is the most jarring thing about McGregor for me, not the acting, not the delivery, not the fact that he wasn't himself. They covered up his tattoos with fake ones.
Oh really?
That's weird.
Because he had like a Knox tattoo
Yep,
or
it was
something
Knox,
across
Knox,
his
Knox.
chest.
Maybe.
Under his ribs, he has.
times.
Well,
So maybe Conor McGregor does exist in this universe. The
Right.
difference is the tattoos.
so like I got the Knox ones because if you're gonna change his name, he actually has McGregor tattooed there.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention
And then
to that,
his
dude.
his chest tattoo in real life is a gorilla eating a heart, and then he's got a tiger on his like where his belly button is. All of those are covered up. I don't think he has one on his back.
Did he have
IRL.
anything there, or was it
No,
just?
he has all covered up like fake tattoos over all three of his real tattoos. My wonder with that is there was one of the WWE 2K games that came out a couple years ago. The company that made it, 2K, I believe, or whatever subsidiary of 2K that made that game, got sued by the Viper Randy Orton, who's a wrestler. He's the one with he's got 2 sleeves with skulls. His tattoo artist sued the developer for
Putting it in the game.
for putting his intellectual property, the tattoos he put on Randy Orton, in the game. They said, that's my IP. I designed that. You owe me millions of dollars because you put my art in that game without paying me.
That dude wanted money.
And it went to a higher court. I don't remember the verdict, so I'm not going to speak on it either way. I don't think
Millions seems steep.
Well, it's like
He was like, they're going to come down.
The game sells a lot, you know. So I kind of
That's
get
a
it.
weird one too, because it's like once you do it's on somebody else. It's their thing.
Well,
now.
what do you
Was
do
he
with-
like on the cover or something?
That's a weird one.
No, he was just
Yeah.
in the game, which is what weirds me out because it's like, well, he's on every WWE pay-per-view. He's on television. He's on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yeah,
now
you're
a
not
part of his
getting-
person,
yeah.
not your art. Like it's your art,
Right.
yes.
You're giving that to
You
him.
sold it.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but
That is
then
a weird one though.
Then
yeah.
again,
Huh.
like if someone walked up to me and was like, "Hey, your tattoos are sweet. Can we like in a crazy hypothetical that would never happen? Can we put one of your tattoos on a beer can or something?"
Yeah.
I would feel like, well, I gotta ask
Right.
Jake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if they were like, let's put a picture of you with your arm tattoo on a
Yeah,
beer
but is there-
can, that's
that's
another-
different. But if it was the
Yeah.
design, I would be like, I gotta ask Jake.
Is there any scenario where Jake says no?
Then it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I just don't think he would ever say
so
no. I don't
I'm-
think anyone would ever say no to that.
I'm going to try to remember. I got to go back and I want to finish.
You
the-
gotta
Yeah,
go
we
get
need
another
a-
tattoo so we get
yeah.
answers.
No, I'm going. I'm
We need
going to
a
go back.
corrections card for the verdict. I want to know what happened.
I may message him tonight. I got to go back and get more work done. I want to bring up that whole situation and be like, what do you think as a tattoo artist? What's your kind of 2 cents on that? But that was very jarring to me. I actually looked up pictures of Conor McGregor. Like right after he
McGregor's
debuted,
shirtless.
Conor McGregor's ass. We do see his whole body.
First,
he does
Multiple
not
times.
have
yeah, a decent amount of
any
time.
hair on his body below his neck.
No, he's a hairless man.
He's hairless. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how terrible Jake Gyllenhaal's tattoos were?
What was up with his
He had an equal sign.
equal sign?
What was
Did that mean anything?
No.
Does that mean something in UFC or something, MMA or whatever?
I don't know. I know more.
I'm going to Google
Can you
it.
Google it
Google it.
while I monologue for a minute? The tattoo that pissed me off the most of his was the 2 thin lines on the inside of his rib cage. I'm like, what are
Or
what are
the
we
like
doing?
the triangle things that were on the back of his arm. Those were bad too.
Yeah, he's got like 3 little like
Those like lines.
carrots.
Yeah.
like this, like little root
I also didn't
shapes.
like his. I didn't like any of them, but the one on his forearm too was just dumb.
Yeah, and now listen,
Boo.
this is coming from a man. I have a triangle tattoo. I have
and lines.
2. I have 2 Phantom Menace tattoos.
You do.
I'm gonna go get a third. So I don't know if I can really talk,
Sure.
but I am gonna.
sure.
And they
Well,
were
because
stupid.
here's the thing: they could have put whatever tattoos they wanted on him. They're fake,
and that's the thing.
and that's what they chose.
that's what bums
They
me.
could have
Now-
put none, like the original
none.
Dalton had.
right, and that's what pisses me off. And not pisses me off. That's way too strong. We'll go to you in a second. What makes draws the big question mark for it is they all seemed like tattoos for someone who goes into a tattoo shop and just wants tattoos. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, not that I think tattoos have to mean anything. This one does
No.
to me. These don't. Like, my left arm is just going to be Star Wars is neat. Like, it doesn't have deep meanings to me. It's like Darth Maul looks cool.
But they have meaning to you.
Darth
it's
Maul-
not completely meaningless.
Darth Maul looks cool.
It's not a shape on your arm.
That's true.
There's at least nostalgia. Yeah.
Well, there's a difference. Like they don't have to have deeper like
In
emotional
history.
meaning, but
Like,
like
Anthony-
someone could walk into a tattoo shop and be like, "I want a tattoo. Give me a sun."
Like Anthony from
You know?
Smosh has like the ink drip where they just splatter ink all over you, and it's his whole like up to his neck, and it's
That looks
Dang.
awful.
it's stupid.
It's so bad.
Not to yuck your yum, but I'm gonna.
Not to yuck your yum.
Like I don't like it. So
Jake Gyllenhaal
Not to yuck
has
your
0
yum.
tattoos in real life, so all of them are fake.
Yeah, of
Some
course.
of them, he said, are tributes to Patrick Swayze, but will not
In what
reveal
way?
which
ones.
They're supposed to be Easter eggs.
So
like
that's
you,
not a real.
If you know, you know. If you get it, you get it.
Did he? But he didn't have any tattoos.
So
The equal sign is
He
because
has the
this movie
equal
is
sign.
equal to the original. I get it. Not. Like,
one line is Patrick Swayze, one line's me.
Yeah.
and we're congruent. We're parallel. Like, okay. Like,
I
good for
am
you.
Patrick Swayze.
So this movie is missing one
That's funny.
enormous thing from the first Roadhouse. This is the biggest omission for
Sam
me.
Elliott.
Good musicians.
It's missing two enormous things. I really wanted Sam Elliott. I was talking to her last night. I really wanted Sam Elliott to show up at the bar a la Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And just
my
kind of
God.
come and be like,
God.
yeah, just to come be
That
at
would
the
have
bar.
made.
How's it
That would
going
have changed
for
my
you there,
entire
dude? Yeah.
score of this movie.
You know they don't have black coffee here. They just have Cuban.
Or there's just a fight going on in the background. He just goes, "Been there."
Been there, done that.
Last
I ain't gonna
time I
show you
was-
my dick.
Last
It's like, what are you
time
telling me?
Yeah.
The bartender's like,
No
"What?"
one wants to see it. Get out of here.
I don't know whether to lay on this bar or drink
no.
at it.
He could have been the guy that walks in at the end and goes, "Are you guys open today?"
Yeah,
That would have been perfect.
that would have been good.
I noticed there's a hole in your roof, but can I come in and get a drink?
But
My throat's a little
also,
dry today.
also he's dead. But also, this isn't
Sam Elliott's
connected.
not dead.
Well, no, the character, his character, but it's not connected.
Wade Garrett.
Now,
Wade.
what I was gonna say,
Oh yeah. What's it missing?
it's missing what I wanted and wasn't going to get was the throat grab.
We got one.
Right.
No,
Well-
but the murder, the
He stabs him with stakes like he's a vampire, but he doesn't grab his throat.
you gotta rip a throat out. That's cool.
And that iconic line, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Yeah,
Dude, if they
Anything
would have
close
said
to
that. Oh my god.
we even had a guy
So
in
many
prison.
iconic lines. Oh,
We could have had the dude, the dad of
dad.
the villain, show up at the very end and like kick Patrick Swayze's ass or something and say that line.
Oh my god.
How long have we been going?
38 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
I'm out of notes. I don't have anything else to say.
I like the guy getting eaten by the gator. As soon as they said there's a gator in there, it's like, oh, or a crocodile in the
Someone's
first act. You know, he's going to have to come out and eat somebody. Like,
Well, but it was funny.
yeah.
Like when the dude got eaten, it was funny. It wasn't like
Oh no.
it was like, oh, he's getting eaten by the
Yeah.
crocodile.
I couldn't
This
tell
is
if he was
hilarious.
trying to help him up
He
or
was. Yeah, he was.
He was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
pull him up,
He
yeah.
was.
But yeah, because he's like, that's the weird. Like, he's kind of nice. Like, he was nice.
Until it's
Like,
time
when
not
he was
to be
in
nice.
those lines, he drove the guys to the hospital, which was funny. I thought that was
That
a
was
good
good.
scene.
And the other
In that
thing,
bar.
the thing I like is the first interaction he has with the bikers. He starts the fight by slapping them.
Oh no! I slapped you.
Like he slaps all three of them. He
Are you
doesn't,
That was
like,
funny.
hit
Yeah.
them.
Do you have a good dental?
I
or-
did like
Yeah.
the biker
This-
guy with the broken arm. That was
That
a
dude
little bit
was
of
great.
comic relief.
The guy
Yeah.
from he's from Broad
Oh,
City.
good to
He's
see you.
great.
Mo.
Yeah.
Broad
What?
City.
His name was Mo.
Yeah,
Mo.
he plays a gay guy in Broad City. I don't know if he's gay in real life or not, but he was so funny in this movie because like he was the one like redeemable character that was
Yeah.
like a bad guy. He was like, I'm just leaving. I just wanted to ride
You
bikes.
know,
I was
those
like,
guys
I
aren't
resonate
as
with that.
nice as I thought they were
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah, after he collapses the dude's
Please don't
trachea
kill
with
me.
a punch and murder.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of our parallel to the throat grab. We got the throat punch, but
Yeah.
it's not as good.
Yeah.
The same. You know what else wasn't as good? The flirting over conch soup. That was dumb. She was not
conch.
she was not into him at all. And then it's like, oh, it's conch soup, not conch soup. And then he was just like, it's the best. And then she's in. And then she's like, all right, let's take you out on my boat and make out.
Well, he
Like,
told
that
her about
wasn't-
pink pearls.
That wasn't even good
Also,
flirting. It was bad flirting.
Everyone in this movie is drinking a Blue Moon.
Blue
Oh, I
moon.
didn't pay
It's
attention.
every beer was
Shocker.
Blue Moon. It was
This,
driving
yeah,
me
this is
nuts.
one of those movies that was like you can see the sponsor in every scene. It's like brought to you by the MMA. Or
If
like,
you're- but
whatever it is. Like,
if I'm on the beach, I don't want a Blue Moon.
I mean, that sounds
I want
pretty alright.
I want
No?
75 Coronas. I don't want a Blue Moon.
I'd take a blue moon over current on the beach.
Right, but you're like
He's not from
you're
Florida.
a
He doesn't
fancy
count.
boy. You don't like cheap shitty beer. I love
Blue
cheap
moon
shitty
is not fancy.
beer. It's not a lager
Yeah,
or like an island Mexican cerveza.
but you can get it at a gas station. That's
You
that's
can
the
get, you can get Highlight
that's
at
the
a gas
baseline.
station.
Yeah,
I
It's
don't
not
know.
fancy.
I don't want a Blue Moon.
at
on the-
one
on the
point,
beach. I want a
the
Corona.
main villain kid goes to the bar and he orders a vodka neat, right?
Yeah.
and they bring him like a brown drink.
No, he had a vodka. He had a
It
vodka.
was like it was not clear.
It was clear.
He doesn't care. He's an alcoholic.
It was clear.
I'll
100%.
send a screenshot. I swear
should
it was
rewatch
not
it.
clear.
It was
maybe,
clear.
Maybe it was the background. Maybe the color grading made it look like brown. but
It was clear because he takes a drink, and I kind of thought that looks thick like real vodka, not thin like water. So
Oh, do you want to know how many times they said the word Roadhouse in the movie?
let me guess.
Yeah.
Let me guess.
Yeah, guess.
5.
69.
The sex number. Haha.
No. Carl, what's your guess?
13.
19.
Really?
About like
Well,
10
it's called
minutes
the Roadhouse.
10 minutes in, I was like, we said Roadhouse. When he first meets the bookstore people, I was like, we've said Roadhouse 4 times in this conversation. So then I
Really?
started keeping count. And then I think I remembered, I was like, she only said it like one time because she was like, I own a Roadhouse. So 19.
I feel like the number in the first movie is less than 3.
Yeah, no, they said it all the time.
Well, yeah, because back in those roadhouses had names. This roadhouse was just the roadhouse.
The Roadhouse.
Well,
But
it was
the
a
boat
roadhouse.
reveal-
It was
But called
a roadhouse.
The Roadhouse.
Called the
When
road.
he was like, "I've got a boat," my uncle named it too, and it was called the boat.
that was
I
good.
Well,
laughed very
and
hard
you know
at
what the
that.
other thing that they made a point to do was they made a point to say that it was Road Space House was the name, but it's a Roadhouse no space, and I
Yeah.
believe they did that because everybody writes the movie name without the space. But it's in both instances, it has.
It's kind of like
space.
Blade Runner. They combine it, and it's supposed to be
I
two
had
words.
to I had
Yeah.
to triple check while naming the Blade Runner episode because I want to combine it too.
Which cut is the full? Yeah, which one is 2 words of one?
Which cut of the name Blade Runner?
It changes the meaning when you combine it. Maybe he was a replicant if it's one word.
So I want to pose
Yeah.
a question before we do hit mid or miss because we can't yet. We have to talk for another 20 minutes.
Also have some kind of hot points.
Okay, cool.
I was about to say, there's got to be hot.
No,
Some
I'm
lukewarm
changing
points.
my mind. Let's do hit mid or
Lukewarm
miss
points.
right now.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let's do it early, and then I want to follow it up with another question. I want to start with you because I think I want to. Hit mid or miss for you?
Miss.
Miss for you.
Like
Why?
it's just I don't know. I feel like it wasn't campy enough to be super like it was fun. I didn't have a bad time watching it, but like it wasn't a good movie and it wasn't really like campy enough to be that fun.
So, do you mean camp in the 80s sense?
Yeah.
So-
the 80s Roadhouse had more of a this is a crazy dumb movie. I'm going to enjoy it. This was just too bland of
I feel like we
Meh.
need a modern version of camp because I did think this was campy, but in the
But not
way
fun
that
I don't
in
know.
the way that
It doesn't compare to 80s
Transformers
camp.
in the way that Transformers
Yeah.
is campy.
Modern camp.
By camp, I mean like lead sniffing 2000s action movie. Camp.
Lead sniffing.
Lead.
not like 80s camp.
80s camp is just so charming now, and it's like
It is.
It's
We don't
hard
have
looking
the-
back
we
at
don't
that
have the
movie and then
charm.
going to
Was it-
this one and being like the UFC is not camp. Like
Right.
it's so it's I don't know.
I don't know, like the action the action looked weird and the
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal's character was just blah.
Yeah, too many like high like concept editing or something to be camp.
Yeah.
Like the other movie, when I was rewatching the original, the fight scene with Swayze and whoever that guy that used to fuck guys like him in prison on the beach, it was all like it was just a wide shot of them fighting. It wasn't like, there wasn't ridiculous choreography. It wasn't like
not
crazy
every-
cuts and
a
like
cut a
stitched together
second.
with TikTok editing. Yeah, it was just like it was basic.
Cap cut.
So I don't know. Some of that
we
I wish
use
they
that.
kind of just kept it and stripped it back a little bit and kept it kind of
Made it look
reserved.
gritty. Made it
If you
look
look
grittier.
closely,
There wasn't any grit.
That's the other thing. I don't know if anybody else got this, but it kind of reminded me of Bert's movie where it was just too pretty.
Yeah.
Everything's
Like
too clean.
everything is just so crisp and clean.
Yeah.
There's so much color and everything is like color
don't-
graded so well,
I don't
which is
think
great.
I don't think that's the problem though. I think it's the performance
And the script.
in that.
It's the script.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of Bert's movie because it's bad. Carl, hit mid or miss?
Man, this is tough because I was very, very excited in the last episode to watch this one because
That's
this
so
was like,
funny.
and I don't know, it kind of disappointed me. Like I wanted it to be a little bit more true to the source material. So I'm torn between like miss or mid.
I think
but
we're
I
all
think-
going to be.
Miss.
I think I'm gonna do. I
can't
think I'm gonna
lobby.
do the lower end of mid, but because I think it was fine.
Out
I
of-
think
all right.
I don't know that it works as a standalone. I think it only works if you have like the rose tinted glasses and remember that movie and then kind of go into this one and be like, okay, it did okay. But
wanna-
like it didn't hit the right notes for me. So it's like go ahead, Nick. What?
I want to quantify that. What out of 10?
Out of 10,
So
I
like
think
a 6?
I honestly
not
feel like
low.
comparing itself to the original Roadhouse is taking it. Like, I feel like they should have just been like, this is a new thing and just like not compared itself because then it could
Call
have
it
been like a standalone.
Beach House Brawl.
Beach House, yeah,
Way
or
better
something.
name.
Like the
Beach
Tiki
House
Hut
Brawl
or
is
anything.
objectively
I think
bad.
out of 10, I'd give it a 5.
Okay, so a true mid
Yeah.
kind of.
I think Gyllenhaal's performance carried it, and I don't know if he's like trying to get new actors a platform because it seemed like at the end of the credits it was like introducing, and it was like all these new people, and I was like, maybe he's
I
just
didn't
trying
stay
to
that
like,
long.
Did you guys watch?
maybe
the
he's trying to
post-credit?
give these new guys a platform or something.
Carl,
Yeah,
did
I
you
watched
know?
the post credit too.
What?
I stayed till the end, and I was just like, oh, so he's not dead? Okay, like, I guess they're gonna
make
reboot.
the post-credit scene is Conor McGregor walking out of the hospital.
That's
Yeah,
scam.
seemingly
Naked
fine.
Yeah.
again.
Like,
Is he naked again?
It was basically his intro, but an outro. So I guess
Yeah, it
he's
was the
gonna
exact
continue
same
to
as
wreak havoc. But yeah, I think it's
Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
For me, if this wasn't Roadhouse and not connected, I would give it a mid. But because it's Roadhouse, it's a miss.
Ooh.
So 2 misses, 1 mid.
Miss.
I'm also going to give it a mid. For me, it is a 6 out of 10, not a 5. I will explain thusly.
I'm more 4.
I expected the movie to be so much worse than what it was.
That's fair.
I expected it to be ass. And what I got was a kind of fun, stupid movie. And I can respect a movie for being fun and stupid. I thought Gyllenhaal in it was fine. 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5. It's
it keeps getting lower.
Bad. Now, my follow-up question to the group is this, and I think this is answerable by all of our scores. Should someone watch this movie? I would say
Yes.
no.
Nah.
I would say no. I would
think
say
you should
no with
watch
an
it.
asterisk. If you have
What's
not,
the asterisk?
if you have
Okay.
not seen 1989's Roadhouse, do not watch this movie. Go watch the original Roadhouse.
That's what I was about to say.
If you have seen 1989's Roadhouse and you want a shittier version of that, just know this movie's bad, but you might have some fun watching it. In fact, David watched it this morning,
Well, nice.
and
What did he think?
him and I were messaging it. Same deal. Like he had not seen Roadhouse.
I don't know that this is even good bad yet.
He thought it was-
like at least the original Roadhouse is very good bad.
From what I got, he thought it was fun stupid.
Does that come with time though?
What stupid is our good bad?
Fun stupid.
It's like our new word.
That's the opposite of good bad.
You do in the movie going, huh, that was fun.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I think
There's
that's
no hope at the end of it though. He leaves and goes where? Like at least in the first one with Swayze Dalton,
you
he
should
has his
appreciate
lady.
it. He's a rambling man.
I guess I will say they did mention that it was kind of like a western, which I was like, okay, you kind of got me with the western motif.
Without any
angle. I
of
was
the
like,
charm at all.
right, but it's like sand on the beach is kind of like
Right.
sand in the desert.
No, no,
Exactly the same.
A watering hole in the deserts of Oklahoma serves a totally different purpose than a watering hole on the beaches of Glass Key. Those are two different things.
I think you should watch it.
You just know that across the street from Red House there's mini golf. It's different.
Yeah, it's the tourist town. I think you should watch it just because we need more mid-budget like B movies like this, and I think this gives us more
Oh, let me look up the budget.
potential good comedies. I
like-
think. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say to the budget thing. I feel like this got passed around from studio to studio,
Oh, cheap.
so
cheap.
that probably affected budget stuff.
All right, so they gave them Amazon gave Gyllenhaal and the filmmakers a choice. You get a $60 million budget and a theatrical release, or you get an $85 million budget and it's direct to streaming. And they chose $85 million direct to streaming. That's still
And they just pocketed.
That's-
the
Can
other
you imagine this
25.
movie with a lesser budget?
that's $105 million less than Dune Part 2, and that's $360 million less than Rise of Skywalker.
Oh
That's a
Wow.
That's a $410 million movie,
That's insane.
and it's worse than Roadhouse.
I was going to say which one's worse.
Oh God, I'd rather watch Roadhouse Clockwork Oranged my eyeballs for 48 hours than watch Rise of Skywalker once. That's a piece of shit.
Did I miss?
Hey, we talked
did
about
you
Star Wars.
say if
We
you should
did.
watch it or
I
not?
said nah.
Nah.
No, you didn't like it. You weren't even having fun. It didn't seem.
I mean, I didn't
I-
hate my
no.
time, but like,
It was just so aggressively fine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they need to keep making more of these because they haven't quite gotten it dialed in yet. I think they've got
Okay.
it close. I think they almost need to do this like a Bond. Every 10 years we get a new Dalton. And that's the Dalton for
Oh
our
my
generation.
God.
And we just keep making more. And Dalton becomes a Bond figure and we just kind of keep reinventing him.
Sounds like Bert talking about his movie.
We'll do it every 40
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
So check out.
I think 40 years is the cutoff because the Blade Runner remake was fantastic. This remake 30 years later didn't quite do it. So another 10 years and we probably would have
maybe it
nailed
would have
it.
been perfect.
It should have been. They should have waited
Yeah.
for 2029.
Yeah.
Roadhouse 2029.
Harrison Ford's in it. No, Harrison Ford will be dead.
Oh my god.
Maybe not.
We'll be able to digitally
He'll
recreate
be
him.
here.
Man, it'll be
That's only
sad.
5 years, 6
be-
years, 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of things to talk about.
What do we think about the music?
Oh, what do we think about the? I didn't pay attention to the
Because the music in the first one it was such a part of the setting.
I have a
You know,
beef.
it felt so grounded, and the music here was kind of newer and felt weird.
I have a beef with the music at the very end. Very, very end. When the I don't know, what is it? Does the bad guy walk up in the end? I don't remember.
The sheriff walks up and's like, "Get out of here."
It's before that. It's when Conor McGregor comes back. Or right after. Who cares? It's at that
On the ocean scene,
one of
or?
the last scenes. No. Boat has crashed into the bar.
Okay,
and that
okay,
guy
okay.
lived somehow.
They play a sped up and pitched up version of Enter Sandman by Metallica. And I was like, what the hell?
I did not pay
Just
attention.
play the real version. What the hell is
And a
this?
shocker to no one.
I didn't like it. What did you have?
Hot points.
Oh God bless
yeah,
America.
yeah, yeah.
We have hot points. It's the most important part of the
hot
show.
points. Yes, when I do it and only when
don't
I
have-
do it.
I don't have hot points music
Shots fired.
because after David did hot points, he ripped the iPad stand off the table. So I don't.
Maybe
have
we'll
the
be
music.
back next week with music. We'll see.
Should have had a guitar. I should have played.
Oh, that's the move.
Romance.
There's 10 other channels on the soundboard. I can do whatever I want.
Wow.
No, there are 4 guitars in that closet.
I'll hold my mic up to
They're
it.
all in cases. Go ahead.
I don't have a ton to report because this movie was so aggressively fine. And
this is Gyllenhaal. Hot.
Gyllenhaal Hot Points was aggressively fine, but not in the good way. He got
Jackie
a
Gyllenhaal?
-1. I just so
A minus.
His abs.
-1 for his stupid neck tattoo. I was
That
like,
was
that's
dumb,
just
yeah.
dumb, not hot. And that's literally the only reaction I had. I kind of wanted to add a hot point when he was doing some things, but I was just like, yeah. I don't know.
His personality was just
He had
not
no
there.
personality.
say-
He wasn't charming.
I don't think that he carries abs well.
Ooh. Shots fired.
I don't know. I would
His-
trade
his-
that body right now.
Any of
mean,
us would, but I think the abs wear him instead of him wearing the abs. It just looks kind of funny. I don't know.
You got to admire that commitment, though, to the physique for a movie that's
That's
a remake
true.
of an 80s movie. It's like, that's, wow,
He's
he must
on-
have really thought he had
He's
something.
on
Yeah.
kratom or something.
I think Patrick Swayze is hotter than
You weren't a fan.
We didn't do
of
hot points
Swayze?
at that point, right?
No.
what?
Were you not a
did we
fan of
wanna-
Swayze?
We didn't have hot points.
We didn't have hot points at that point because it was.
Do you think
new.
you could do justice to hot points for Patrick Swayze right now?
I
in
think
Roadhouse?
Patrick Swayze, looking back, I think his character is hotter than Jake Gyllenhaal's character in this movie.
Patrick Swayze has a face for radio.
I know you hate Patrick
That's who it
Swayze.
was.
I think he's hideous.
He
Not
hates him.
Danielle Cameron.
He's
Listen,
hideous.
I also though am more endeared to him because of Dirty Dancing, so I'm biased.
I'll do anything I can in life to never watch that movie.
Cameron, we have to come on.
my
I should have
God.
had that for my favorite movie. God,
I kill myself.
why?
should've
I don't want to watch
It's
that
a
shit.
Is Dirty
classic.
Dancing a romantic comedy? Or is it not?
It's a romantic.
It's kind of.
It's a romantic
I don't-
drama?
Yeah, but more romantic drama. There's some comedy.
Not
I don't
enough.
know.
Is that Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner? Or am I thinking of something else? Okay.
Yes.
So I've seen enough of that movie from you watching it on like TV or whatever to know
It's
that I
so-
would hate it.
Why? Do you
Because it
think-
blows.
No, it doesn't. It's
Stupid.
It's a classic.
Lots of things are classics that you don't like.
Yeah, but this one I like, so I'm right.
Casablanca's a classic. Nick doesn't like it because he drinks paint or something. I don't know.
Whatever, man.
And you can't swim.
Listen, Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner is iconic.
It sure
Was
is.
there an overall scale for Swayze and Roadhouse, or just too far from it to give him a
Yeah, but
number?
she could barely remember, and Phoebe's.
Yeah, I don't really remember the movie enough to give him a
been a
scale
while.
at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, because of how the scale works, you kind of have to have the movie in
I
front
have
of
to
you when
have
you're
the
making
reaction.
Because you start at 5.
The
and go up and
visceral,
down.
yeah.
And sometimes, it's
Well,
just.
you know, Swayze would have got hot points for his workout there in the yard.
I think so.
With everyone
that Tai
watching.
Chi.
Oh, one more thing. I have one more complaint about this movie. No defenestration. Made me sad. Nobody goes through a
No.
window in this movie.
Oh, I was like,
No
what is-
explosions
You
either.
said no
I mean,
defenestration?
okay. I wanted.
Yeah, defenestration is something going through a window.
That is a nice word that I will use from now on.
And fenestration is like adding windows to something. So
It
you
sounded
fenestrate your house.
sexual to me.
And,
Fenestration.
you know where I learned that word? Jeff Davis, when they're doing the Harmontown Book Club about
God, that
Roadhouse.
guy's so well read.
He is. He uses it as a brag. He says, "I've read literature." Whenever he's in an argument, I'm trying to read literature.
Jeff.
I've been trying to read Casino Royale. That book sucks. It sucks. It's Ian
Ew.
Fleming's first Bond book, and it is so full of just unnecessary French that it's hard for the stupid American audience, because he'll just be like, "Oh,
I'd give up.
It's just, dude, I'll show you." I actually put some.
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
I put some
would give up
screenshots in
immediately.
Discord of some of the uses of French. I had you read it too.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's incomprehensible.
Did you know some French, right?
Well, it was more terrible the misogyny. It
Oh
was
yeah,
also
yeah. He
trash.
gets the female partner. Let me read. I'll read
It's
this
so
bit
bad.
because he learns that the partner he's going to get, just like in the movie, is a woman in Casino Royale. And he says, then there was this pest of a girl. He sighed. Women were for recreation. On a job,
shit.
they got in the way and fogged things up with sex and hurt feelings and all the emotional baggage they carried around. One had to look out for them and take care of them.
About time someone said it.
Wow. So, and I've read old books. Like I can kind of look past that stuff. But after I tried to beat, so you know what I'm going to do?
Oh my God.
Trash.
I got advice from an author once that said, don't fight your way through a book. If you're not feeling it, it will bum you out on reading as a practice. So get rid of it. So I went back to Scud, The Disposable Assassin, comic novel by Rob Schraub.
Nice.
I'm going to finish that. And then there's 3 other books on,
have so many books
on
that
my
you
book section.
could
And
read.
that's not even all of them. I have 8 books and 4 more in my wish list on bookshop.org, where you should buy all your books and on Amazon.
Bookshop.
Bookshop.org has donated tens of millions of dollars to local bookstores around the U.S. So books are more expensive, but you're not supporting Jeff Bezos.
I've bought a couple Barnes & Noble books recently, and it just feels
That's
wrong.
another gross titan. Bookshop.org, baby.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else to say before we wrap this up? Because I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
No. Are we
All
gonna pull?
Let's pull. So we are going to enter a new month. It's a new month
It's gonna be April
with a new theme. This theme, Carl coined, so it's his fault. We're going to do Sword Month. all the movies. There's only 3
We just covered
tickets in
so
here.
much ground last year. I was like, what haven't we done? We haven't done much swords.
Oh, I get it.
Sword month.
Yeah, so we're going to do all these movies have swords. There's only 3 because I think we have to figure out the
We have
4th.
to decide the 4th.
I hope there's somehow one that
There's
doesn't.
we had a 4th, but all of us had seen it, so we have to discuss post show.
Or maybe we'll watch it, but we'll
maybe
see.
we'll watch it. So I'm
We'll
gonna
never
pick,
tell.
I have one. It's the wrong side.
I've missed the bucket
How
pull, man.
embarrassing.
All right, I'm excited. This is the one I wanted.
What is it?
We're gonna watch
What is it?
the second best Heath Ledger film.
Oh, let's go.
We are going to watch A Knight's Tale.
Yay.
This is
so good.
Did the
Watching
dog-
this for so
did
long.
I know.
the dog eat the ticket?
No, I put my foot over
Okay,
it.
thank you. So, A Knight's Tale is a comedy movie. It also stars
It's so good.
Paul Bettany. Is that
Paul
his name?
Bettany?
Yes, Paul Bettany's in it.
Paul Bettany's in it.
Vision and the guy from
Oh, really?
It's a lot of people you'll recognize, be like, oh, I've seen that.
That guy.
Da Vinci Code.
It's a medieval
Yes.
film that also has Queen's "We Will Rock You" in the soundtrack.
Nice.
It is hilarious.
The right kind of camp.
It's a
It is.
very good movie. Very or it's Heath Ledger's movie he did right after
10 Things?
10 Things. He went from 10 Things right to
12 to
this.
14.
So I'm very excited. You haven't seen it, right?
No.
And Carl, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. I've
So-
literally held off.
Brandon Frederick showed me this movie when I was a teenager. He said it's one of my favorite movies. I've only seen it once, not at his house, and I've seen this movie like 5 times because it was just like, we'd play Call of Duty till 3 a.m. and then
watch a movie.
and then put on a Night's Tale and fall asleep. One of the times I distinctly remember because we went to like the gas station and we each got our own 2-liter of Mountain Dew and just opened it and we're drinking.
my
Guys,
God.
how are you alive?
That's probably why I
You go to
have.
sleep after that.
That's probably how I have heart problems.
That's why you have issues.
So,
I can't imagine drinking an entire.
I also once
Mountain.
like knocked over an Arizona tea can like off the couch and grabbed it and I caught it and held it up to Brandon and I caught it upside down. So it was just glugging
Oh, no.
onto the floor.
I
I caught it. He just looked at me like, did you? So shout out to Brandon for showing me this movie that I am so excited for you two to watch. It is a hell of a movie.
I'm excited.
I don't think it's like the best movie of all time, but I think it's a very good 2000s comedy. And it's Heath Ledger.
I assume, you said it's the second best Heath Ledger. I assume
Dark
the first
Knight.
is Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Dark Knight. It's just
So, I mean, call him at second. That's high praise.
I've seen 3 Heath Ledger movies.
That's fair.
So grain
Okay.
of salt, but it's
I only know of 3.
Asterisk.
and like as far as movies I enjoy, like I would casually put on A Knight's Tale before I put on Dark Knight. So just subject matter wise. So very excited to watch this movie. It's been a couple years. You and I have watched it in this house, right?
I don't think we have. I don't think we've watched it since we were dating.
Maybe we were dating.
We were in your parents' house.
So it's been 7.
And you really wanted to make out, but I was like, no, I really want to watch this movie.
Heath Ledger is on the screen.
Ledger's in this movie.
So it's been 7 or 8 years since I've seen it. So really excited for you guys to watch it. Take notes, please. We'll have to watch. I've got a couple favorite scenes that come to mind straight away.
Nice.
So we're gonna watch that and watch Sword Month.
Sword month.
Not Fantasy Month. That would be too easy.
Swords.
We're gonna grasp our
Fantasy's
scabbards
too wide a scope. Yeah. Sword is way more focused.
and more generalized.
He
at the
knows
same
what he's about.
So, Christ on a bike. All right, we're gonna watch A Knight's Tale and
Sword month.
Sword Month. We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Oh, God.